They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without question. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hey everyone. Friday. I'm going to say a quote here. And who's the first person springs to mind? And it comes from the great Oscar Wilde anyway. A man who doesn't think for himself does not think at all. A man who doesn't think for himself does not think at all. Who springs to mind? Think about it. Who would you say? The old mate, the curry fella, the beer and curry fella, Steve Mulholland. Good evening, Frank, and everyone in the chat. Please like. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Johan. Good evening, Frank, and legends. Hope everyone as well. Smash the likes on the way in. Thank you. Appreciate that when you say that. I really do. So, who do you reckon? You know, a man who doesn't think for himself does not think at all. Who would you say? I know, you know, the first person that comes to my mind. Brilliant. There you go. Brilliant. Trump, the flip-flopper. But, look, I don't think Trump, I really don't think Trump is the man people think that he is. It's the people behind him. No matter who's president. No matter who's president. See, it was always the deep state, wasn't it? You know, we always called it the deep state. But these are the neocons, the new conservatives. They want to bully the world. And every protest that comes in, they're right at. And it's based on lies. Trump's presidency is based on lies. Because when he campaigned, I was made up when he was saying, I'm going to bring peace. I'm going to bring peace. And I really believed him. I fell for it myself. So you can imagine what the ordinary Americans did. You know, yeah, let's get some peace. You know, we're fed up at wars because America has always started wars. And people think that they started the war. Russia started the war in Ukraine. It was America. America has been after resources. They wanted to break the whole of Russia up, the Russian Federation. They wanted to break them up from the very beginning, right after the Cold War. They kidded them. You know, people say about, have you noticed the spin about when the Soviet Union went, you know? It went. And they always say, don't they, when the Soviet Union collapsed, it didn't collapse. It didn't. Because Gorbachev, when he came in, he was a sort of a leader who says, well, okay, let's give these countries in the bloc autonomy. And that was said to the Americans. He said, I'm fed up with all this. He said, I'm fed up with walls being built. He said, and we could bring down the Berlin Wall, let the people have the freedom, let the West, let the East join the West. That's what he said. He's talking about Germany, by the way, when it was split. And that's what he said. He said, on one condition, he said to the Americans, that NATO doesn't move eastwards. NATO does not move eastwards. And it's wrong. It's wrong because what did NATO do? The Americans said, no, we're not going to do that. We won't move east. We will not. We'll just stay here. You're okay. We said, okay. Well, NATO then should have been disbanded. It should have been disbanded because it was only made up because of the Soviets, NATO. And Germany was quelled. That was it. They were suppressed. And what you have today is a terrible thing. NATO right on the borders. And they were encroaching right into Ukraine. And you had Hunter Biden, didn't you? Right on the borders of the Russian Federation with biolabs. Think about that. There used to be a fella in Russia named Bill Browder. And the resources he was getting, and then Putin came in and he chased him. He said, get out. But with these American companies, he said, get out. And it's ever since then, before then with Browder, it's ever since the breakup that America wanted to go in and take all the resources. They thought they were doing us with Browder. Chased in 1991. He was chased. And then he's been at it ever since. So they were thinking, well, how do we get at them? How do we get at them? And you had a president called Yanukovych. I always get this fellow's name mixed up. Anyway, Yanukovych. I think that's how you pronounce it. And what he did, he won the election in Ukraine easily. And the Americans were going mad. They said, look, this fella, he's a big pro-Russian. We've got to get rid of him. We have to get rid of him. And what did they do? They got rid of him in 2014 with the Maidan coup d'etat. Got shut of him. And they've got this puppet regime. Well, you all know that. What I'm trying to put over is this. They were always poking the bear. Even Merkel and Hollande, who then was the French president, they kidded Russia up. They kidded Putin up. They kidded him. They says, we'll go get on so no more NATO, no one will be going near your borders and whatever. And why they kidded them up? They wanted to build up the Ukraine army because they knew what they wanted to do. And they built it up into 800,000 men. NATO trains, every one of them. They're all gone now. They're all gone. Gone. Yeah, that lot. And they really thought that they could take Russia on with the help of NATO. Because if you think that NATO wasn't being in that firing line, think again. Think again. And now the latest rounds is the looking now, which is absolutely ridiculous. Trump always saying, this is not my war. It was his war from the moment he sent arms and money to Ukraine. That was the very first. And as you know, I've been saying this for a long time, that the likes of Ukraine is a washing machine. The money that's going in there is spun around and going back out. It's going back out. And they reckon now that cartels in South America, Latin America, have got arms that was supposed to be for Ukraine because they went on the black market. The regime in Kiev was putting them on the black market. Even in Germany, there's arms that was supposed to be going to Ukraine. And I'm not saying they're going to the government, by the way, of Mexico or anywhere like that, or even the Chancellor in Germany, the Bundestag. It's not going there. It's going to armed people, gangsters. That's where they're going. And they went on the black market. And now you've got Trump in. Biden went first, and he was saying, yeah, right, okay, let's take them on. And he really thought that Ukraine could take on Russia. Big mistake. Now Trump is putting tariffs on them, thinking that the economy will go. You see, you've got the neocons down as here. You've got the stupid leaders of Europe. Now, don't forget, Europe is under the thumb of America. They do as America tell them. They do as America tell them. Tell you who else is under their thumb. And I'm talking about American neocons. And that's this government, understand me. They get told what to do by America. America is the biggest bully in the world. They just start wars because of their big arms companies. They make a lot of money. They're always going to Congress, to the congressmen, saying, yeah, have some of that. And the senators, yeah, have some of that. Do you ever remember when Trump first came in? And does anybody remember this? And he mentions about Lindsey Graham. He says, I want him out of North Carolina or South Carolina. What is the senator for? Who's the senator for? He said, I want him out. Now they're the best of mates. Have you thought about that? I have. And he's one of the biggest neocons in world politics. Lindsey Graham. Warmonger, warhawk, thinks he could take on Russia. If America think that they can go into Russia and take them on, they would have well been in there now. He won't go in. Now it's an economic war. And the economic war is going to hurt you and me. It's going to hurt us. I'll give you an example of what I mean. All food stuff is going to go. It's already up there now. The inflation of food. Wait till it gets worse. Because, say, like a little firm has a couple of wagons, lorries, whatever you want to call them, and they deliver food to a chain of supermarkets. They have to fill their vans up or lorries up or whatever up with diesel and petrol and whatever. So they're going to charge more. So the supermarket puts their prices up. But it's going to get a lot worse. That's the economics of the world today. Everything is going to go up, all because of oil. And America, when they blew up, and it was America, even Joe Biden said it live on television while Schultz was standing there, the German president, the German chancellor, at the White House. When a reporter said, well, how are you going to do it? About the Nord Stream, said, we've got ways. And that Sikorsky, that idiot, warmonger of Poland, what was the first thing he said, tweeted minutes afterwards, because they knew. Thank you, USA, when you just see it all bubbling up. Nord Stream, all the gas. It was an environmental catastrophe. An environmental catastrophe. And what did Greta Thunberg do? You know, she go, this is wrong. I never said a fucking word. Didn't say a word. Thunberg. And it was the worst, as I said, environmental catastrophe ever. Never mind chopping trees down in Brazil, the rainforests, and in Papua New Guinea. No, that was the worst. And no one said anything. And you ever remember Blinken, when it was done, Blinken said, and he was in a press conference in the White House. And he said, now we can do a lot of deals now with Europe for gas, for energy. He said it. Right after the first press conference in the White House, and he said that we're going to benefit from this. So what are they doing? They've told Europe, they've told our neocon von der Leyen to stop all the oil, everything going into Europe. And she tried to put a block on it. And what's happening with Romania? Or is it Lithuania? And Hungary? With the saboteurs going in and blowing up refineries, oil refineries. Now you've got the Germans saying, you know, can you help us? Because they've got refineries there that has to deal with Russian oil. And they're going to America saying, listen, you've got to help us. We can't just stop this. It's terrible what's going on economically, because America cannot win a war, and I'm talking about a weapon war with Russia. So the next best thing is economics. And now they're trying to turn their attention, which we have already, with China. America says, I forget the name of this thing, in Belgium, take it over. And it was a Chinese thing. big company. And they threw everybody out, put all this new NCO in, all the workers. And this is how thick the stupid Europeans are. Never thought it out because America told them to do that about the Chinese. And the Chinese said, yeah, okay, you're not getting any chips. Because all the chips come from China. And they were playing, a couple of days later, they were playing with the Chinese. Oh, listen, send them chips. Oh, this is how pathetic it is. So you're right there, spot on there, Johan. A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. And it's true. But it goes for every other leader in Europe as well, to be honest. Simply because they're not thinking for themselves. It's the people behind them who's running the world, who wants to run the world. And they're picking on three of the main people in this BRICS, three main countries. That's Russia, China, and India. And there's a meeting on the 30th of this month between Xi Jinping and Trump. And Trump's going to say to him, listen, I want you to stop buying oil off Russia, or we'll give you the 5. Yeah, okay. Do you think that China's going to stop? Nope. Nope. It's shocking. TW, even in Frank and chat, I see. No football tonight, boys. Buonasera, Franco and Chatter says Toscana. Hope you're all well. So much to talk about. How does a prisoner get released by accident? Epping migrant sex offender given £76 and allowed to walk free. And you know the answer to that yourself. A sex offender. You know, he's not like a thief, is he? It's a sex offender. Ah, the lovely Amby. Hiya, Ellen. Hiya, Frank and Chatters. A good evening in store tonight. Yes, let's hope. And the Red Bird. Hiya, Red Bird. Good to see you, mate. How are you, Frankie boy? Freezing. Fucking freezing. I've got the worst heating in the world. It doesn't heat up. I've got this one. And the Red Bird. Toscana. Our Labour lefties are illegal immigrants, but hate its own citizens, especially white people whose heritage goes back. Well, it goes back, I'll tell you when it goes back. The only time I know it goes back is to before the Romans, the ancient Britons. The ancient Britons. And the ancient Britons, well, you can imagine what they were. Then you had the dissidents after the Romans, you know, the likes of Julius Caesar, for example. I'm just saying Caesar. When Julius Caesar went over into Europe, conquering Europe, he went to Germanica defeated them, Germany. He went to Spanish, defeated them. Then he went to, it was even before him. Then he went to Gaul, France, defeated them. And when he finally got to Britain, Briton, Britain, he looked around and he said, when he got back to Rome, he said, they're full of dissidents. He said, they're full of Germans, they're full of Spanish, they're full of French. And these were all the ancient tribes, the likes of the Iceni, the likes of the Brigantes, the Trinovantes, the Regni, all these tribes dotted all around, the Ordovices, all dotted all around the country. So, since then, Red Bird. Barry Eldridge, even in Frank and everyone, Johan is right. Donald J. Trump is just a flip-flopper. And you know why? Try to explain now. Honestly. Yusuf is a devil. Yusuf. But he's welcome around it. Yusuf. He's a top guy. Pity he chose the wrong red to wear. Where is Yusuf? Yusuf. He comes on. I don't know. Has he been blocked or something? Bella. Buonasera, Franco. And chatters. Hope you are all well. Yes. You surprised me here about you, sir. Red surprised me. You, sir. Got the hiccups. Our price increases not done for the shareholders of these large conglomerates, Frank, says Barry Aldridge. Look, do you ever remember last winter? How much was you paying for energy? How much? I remember I was on a pay to go, and I was freezing. So I was just putting the heating on. And anyway, I looked at me, the meter where I live. It's along the corridor. I said, I don't have to. And I was down to a 5 from 130. So I had to run out and get another 150. Put it in, but I never ran out. I hobbled out. And I put that in. And that was gone within a couple of days. 150 quid. It was gone. So this is how much you pay. So I said, I'll have to pay by bill. So we got them to, you're not going to believe this. I phoned them up. I'm with British Gas and I'm all electric. And I phoned them up. And I said, listen, I can't be doing this. I said, I'm not able to run out and, pay as you go. Can you do something for me? They asked all my details. I said, yeah. Even asked how old I was. So they said, yeah, he came. knock on the door. Yeah, I've come to change your meter over. It'll be off for about 3 hours. Is that okay? Your electricity. I said, well, carry on with it. And it was off for 3 hours. And I got a bill in for 400 quid. 400 quid I got a bill in. So I'm not saying that everyone's scamming everybody, but you know, we've got to be careful. And the hike is going to go. It's here now. And say like it was down here when everything was all right before this Nord Stream. Right? Everything was all right. And it's up there now. It's going to go up past the ceiling. I'm telling you now. With this stupid oil embargo energy and what America is charging. What America is charging. For what Blinken says, oh, we've got it. And they're sending over all the energy to Europe at astronomical prices. And as I said, you've only got to think about transport. You've only got to think about transport when they're filling their big vans and lorries and whatever, our techs are all up. It costs a lot of money. So everything, and they're going to charge the supermarkets. Say like they were charging them a tenner, for example, I'm just saying that. Now they're going to charge between 20 and 25. So that goes on the prices of all the food. And if you think that inflation has hit us now, when you go, because I go shopping and I only live on my own. And I went shopping. I wish I could show you the receipt. And it cost me 120 quid. I live on my own. Think. And I don't buy all big lavish things. Know what I mean? I don't eat many sweets, When I have me jam roly-poly and my sticky toffee pudding, I look after my weight because I have sugar-free custard on. That was humour. Sugar-free custard. Yeah, I'm on a diet, I love my little diet. I have sugar-free custard on all my puddings. Johan. The refineries in Hungary and Romania, thank you. I don't know whether it was Romania or Lithuania, received supply from Lukoil and Rosneft. The same companies that were sanctioned by the US a few days ago. They think we're all stupid, of course. Of course. And even Zelensky, he's been trying to bomb us, some missiles over to Hungary for their pipeline. Well, you know that, Johan, anyway. That was a few weeks ago until Orban said, you better fucking cut us out, mate. And Barry says, only here, Toscana, only here. I'm surprised that they only gave him 76 quid. I thought they might have put the decimal point in the wrong place. Do you know what? Do you ever remember the fella who got to here? He got to here. He said that he was being tormented in a war-torn country, Afghanistan he was. And he was being persecuted by the Taliban or whoever it was. And they gave him political asylum. And he went back on holiday there for 6 weeks. to visit his family. If you were watching a film and that was in a script, like, that fella who was let out, you were writing a script, you just sit there and you go, I'm not having this. This will fantasy. But it happens. It happens. And there's Yusuf. I think Redbeard meant Johan, not me, because Johan's supposed. I was worrying there. I was going, what's happened to Johan? Then Yusuf. No. And he was only messing then, obviously. I was just saying. And Redbeard knows anyway about the great Johan. He said, oh, great. Panic there, though. Yusuf, what's happened to her? Can't be having that. And Bella says Zelensky was in London today for a coalition of the meeting with the UK and other European leaders to discuss increased military support, sanctions on Russia, and long-range missiles. He's come out, hasn't he? He's finally come out, Putin, and said, big mistake if you go to any one. It's the Russian Federation, these missiles. We're going to retaliate. Look, I don't trust any of the Americans. You've only got to look at America. America, I'm sorry to say this, but has anybody ever gone on YouTube and seen ordinary Americans and how clueless they are? They haven't a clue about the world. How many continents are there? What's a continent? It's things like that. And another thing was, how come the Brits speak our language? Why can't they speak other, like other Europeans' language? Why do they have to speak our language? Americans, see? And this fella, he's brilliant. And he said, well, they speak English. We speak English. He said, yeah, it's American. And he said, well, what do England speak? He said, they speak our language. Just couldn't get through to them. And this is what America are like, unfortunately. I don't know what their education system is. What I'm saying is, it's like the politicians. They think that there's two big oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic, and they're safe from Europe. And if there's a nuclear war, we can just press a button and send all over these nukes, and we'll be all right. Little do they know that there's Alaska and America with a little thing, and there's loads in Alaska. There's loads of missiles pointing that way. Oh, but America. On the doorstep. That's why years ago they had an arms embargo, nuclear arms embargo, because they knew. But I wouldn't trust the Americans to press a button. I wouldn't. I honestly. Yusuf, inflation has hit us as bad. Hang on. Inflation has hit us bad. And the wages have, yeah, kept up with the rise and haven't kept up with it. Yep. Yep. I feel sorry for the pensioners. And what they're doing now, have you noticed? They're looking into bank accounts. They're looking into bank accounts. And I tell you, another fella who's more dangerous than Stormy, and that's that Streeting fella. He's horrible, eh? He's a Tory. He's a deep-rooted Tory disguised as a Labour MP. And Steve says, I seen that, Bella, the Green Goblin in London. And Toscana said, but hopefully they are digging a grave so they can never get back into power. No lefties protesting, only the so-called far right. I must be far right. I don't know what I am. I'm a socialist. Stay Mulholland knows. I'm a socialist. I've always been a socialist. My mother was a conservative. Could you imagine that? I couldn't believe it. You know, when you get to know about politics, oh, Francis, you shouldn't be like that. What? Because what she thought, that the Conservatives always had the money, Labour had no money. Labour wouldn't help people. That was their philosophy. She couldn't make it up. She must have had American ideology. They haven't a clue either. And yes, Stephen, our country can't run itself. I think these politicians need to run our country affairs without trying to run everyone else's, says Bella. It's America who's running everywhere. And this man will tell you, great historian, great archivist, great researcher, David. There are now 4 major oil refineries in the UK reeling crude oil, reefing crude oil. In 1970, we had 18, the decimation of self-sufficiency, all part of the climate agenda. Cracker. But who owns it though, David? Who owns these oil refineries? Is it us? Do we run them? Even if Franco and all our brothers and sisters in the chat hope we're all well. You'll never walk alone, says Rob McIntyre. Good evening, Rob. Franco, wasn't Liverpool conservative in the 50s? They were conservative. Yeah, they were conservative. Yeah, they ran the council. Do you know that? They ran the council until we ran them out. And that's why Thatcher, when she came to power, they hardly had, I think there was one Conservative MP and the rest were all Labour in the city. So she has an agenda against. They've always had it throughout history. They've always had an agenda against Liverpool. To be honest, that's why we didn't get a city status until 1880. Excuse me. Snapey to Barry. Where can you buy a sugar-free lemon meringue from? You serious? Anyway, Barry says, all so-called politicians are only in it for themselves, lining their own pockets. When Cameron and Osborne introduced austerity, they thought it was okay to give themselves two pay rises of 11 and 4%. Yeah. And go and take Gaddafi out. And Barry says everyone else had their wages frozen or 1% at most. I never got a rise. I remember it well. Barry Aldridge, what shapes? What are you talking about? Ali the Noose. Good evening. Good evening, Ali. So that's it with Trump. He doesn't think for himself. He doesn't think for himself. And that's why I mentioned about that Oscar Wilde quote. A man who doesn't think for himself doesn't think at all. Because it's other people think. It's the likes of that Kellogg, a failed general. And why has he got an interest so much in Ukraine? Because his daughter is an arms dealer. Well, for Raytheon, I think. Selling all the arms. So he's there. You've got Lindsey Graham. Well, he's just a Russophobe anyway. And he's tell you what else he is. Besides being a neocon, he's also a communist hater. Anyone who's not American, they even don't like socialism at all as well. They all think everything is communism. Anyone who's not, who doesn't have the American ideology is a communist. Hiya, Neil. Labour have added to the cost of living. The national insurance increases and living wage increases cost for business, which then we pay for. Sorry, it's a secret. That's why I go to the gym. Oh, is that about your lemon meringue, is it? It's a Snapey. And Neil says the I was one of the national insurance. It started the NI, national insurance. I was the biggest mistakes ever for our economy. Raise income tax for all to get the money needed, not to put costs up for business, which we then pay for. Yeah, no matter how you look at the economy, it affects us. It affects us. And they always look after themselves. I want to know how, what's her fucking name? She's just got sacked. Because I don't look at the Labour anymore. And she was fiddling her for 40 grand or something, about a house. Should have paid 40 grand. She was trying to hide it. No, I'm not fucking paying that. Yes, she's got 4 million quid in the bank. And she comes from a council estate. 4 million quid. How did she get that? By being an MP? Or did the likes of these people give her it? Did they land and give her it? Look, you just seen Ali the new son there. And Ali would tell you about how corrupt the EU is. Von der Leyen. But she's getting orders from America. When that Georgescu was going to win the presidency, but he was pro-Russian, you say, we can't have him. And he was even arrested, that man. He was even arrested. Then a fella named Simeone, he took over, and he was going to win. And, they couldn't do anything really, so they just said, oh yeah, look, we can't say too much and go in and arrest him either and cancel the elections again. We can't do it. People are cotton on. He was a set to win, and within 24 hours, this other fella got in. He was a big puppet for the EU and America. Anti-Russian. Think about it. It's shocking. The way how corrupt. There's colour revolutions all over the place. They're trying to start one in Hungary. The Czech now, Czech Republic, they've got in now. And they're pro-Russian. And wait till you see it, they'll start on them. They're already in Georgia. It's shocking what they're doing. And as I said before, people say, oh, well, you support Russia and whatever. You might. No, I balanced it out. And it was the way it went, the West went about, especially America. Don't forget what I said before about Hunter Biden and these labs. And don't forget why they went in. Why Russia went in to Ukraine. And people can't get it through their head that the regime in Kiev was banning everything Russian to Russian-speaking people and making little kids learn Ukrainian at school and shelling them and killing them. That's all forgotten in this country and the West. And that's why they went in, to save these people. And they had referendums all over, that Lugansk, Donbass, Zaporozhye, Kherson, Crimea. They had referendums. Do you want to join it or do you want to stay with Ukraine? Everyone voted to stay with the Russian, to go into the Russian Federation. And they did. So they're in the Russian Federation now. And that's it. And, you know, people say to me, you're a Putin puppet. How am I? They've been bullied. They've been targeted by NATO. They're fighting NATO now. NATO are getting destroyed. And all the lies coming out about it's what, 30 odd to 1. 30 odd. What I mean is, you know, we're exchanging bodies. I know it sounds terrible. But the bodies that are being exchanged, it's the ratio is 30 to 1. 30 bodies, Ukrainians, to 1 Russian. Think about that. And their economy is brilliant. It's the Russian economy. And Neil Sunley Tatosgard was founded by a Tory MP, but we try to ignore that. You can buy them in. Oh, fuck's sake. Are we having a laugh here? Reeves, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Barry. Reeves is supposed to be looking to increase income tax to bring money in. Oh no, that's that fucking Rachel Reeves, isn't it? To bring in money on budget to increase income tax. And as Neil says, yeah, of course. Of course. Good job they can't tax oxygen, eh? Or can they? Wouldn't surprise me, Barry. If they could, they would. Very. Ursula is there. This is Ali, our Romanian friend. Is there to destroy the EU. I suppose. I support a woman from Romanian Parliament. Her name is Diana Sasaka. She was invited by Xi Jinping in China now. Romanian governors want to jail her now. But there you go, you see. They're told by the EU via America. Any dissidents in a politician, jail them. You only have to look at that Snowden when he exposed everything. And Julian Assange. Julian Assange was in jail for 10 years. 10 years without trial. Shocking. This is what it's like. People are getting arrested and jailed for, just giving out their views. It's become a state, a terrified state, a Stalinist state. Stalinist state, not a state. And he carries on now. He says, I've been to Ukraine in 2015. I had a girlfriend there. The first word she told me when I arrived was, if somebody asks me, I am not Romanian because Ukrainians hate Romania. Now we are forced to pay them. Yeah, we're forced to pay for them. Yep. The Nazis. The Mandarites. Have you ever seen that big Airmac? Do you know what he was? He was Zelensky's agent. And now he's a big fucking Azov. Airmac. Fucking bull neck. and don't hold your breath. Is that about nukes? If Trump will take out the US from NATO, the EU is useless. Do you ever remember when Trump said he's going to disband the EU, not the EU, NATO? Remember that? But NATO is the US, and he was told behave yourself, and he was told to go on a peace campaign. Get in and kill everybody up. We'll tell you what to do. We'll write the script for you. Well, you're right there, Ali. But it's useless now. The WEF put them in. The World Economic Forum put that van der Leyen in. Who is she? She's a failed German politician. And she appointed one of the worst women, Russophobes, Kaya Kallas, as the top diplomat. And Ali says Romanians have a community in Ukraine. Those Romanians are always bullied by Ukrainians. They are not even allowed to speak the Romanian language there. Nobody cares. Well, that's why they stopped the Russian language. The Banderites. This is what you've got to think of. The Banderites, the Nazis. I dislike them all. Labour has destroyed the city I live in. I saw a lot of corruption working in, see it all the time, Toscana. And Neil says the Americans mistake true centrism for socialism. They don't understand politics apart from the Republican. Exactly. That's why I mentioned about Neil. That's why I said, what's their education system like? Even Trump. Remember when he came out, when he first became president, and said, "We won the war." Remember that? We won the war. Fucking what war was that, mate? IBR. Evening, Chef Franco. Hope you're good. Good to see you, IBR. I know a lot of things, but I am afraid to say it because many can't handle the truth, says Ali. We all know the truth. Well, on here they do at least. They've got an open mind. They have brain cells. They're not stupid. As one of the lads said, I think it was your one, they think that we're stupid. And we're not. You've only got to look at the, the Venezuelan situation as well. I'll just go through these. John Bolton, Steve Mulholland. John Bolton, the US warmonger, was arrested for sharing intelligence. This hawk supported the death penalty for Assange and Snowden and wanted them to swing from an oak tree. Horrible man. Horrible. But I put him in the same category as that Lindsey Graham. I put him in the same category as him. Because that Lindsey Graham would love to see that as well. Anyone who goes against American ideology, but they've got no ideology. Their ideology. I know I'm going to digress here. Now, I watched the film, and I watched it a few years ago as well, when it first came out. And watch it, you might think it's a bit humorous as well, actually. And it's a Liam Neeson film, and it's called Cold Pursuit. Cold Pursuit. Watch it. And watch another film called, it'll give you some idea of the way America works against the indigenous people. And Wind River, another, just have a look at it. Two of them. But that John Bolton stay, horrible. Horrible. And Neil says, me too. I'm a true centrist. And I hate the extremist far left and far right that has taken over our politics. The far left extremists are pushing people into the arms of Farage. And the Israeli flag waving Tommy Robinson as well. Johan, Romanians are the third largest demographic in Ukraine. They have border disputes in the Bukovina region, where the Ukrainian government has tried to ban Romanian from being spoken. No surprises there. Well, you've only got to look at Ukraine as a whole. As I said, they stopped. You've only got to look at Zelensky himself. He could only speak Russian. And he said, listen, you better start speaking Ukrainian. So he had to learn Ukrainian. And I want to know why he's a multi-billionaire from a penis-playing comedy act on the piano. Yes, I said penis. Just a comedy act. An actor. That's why the Americans wanted him in, because he could read scripts. Give him that script. Calling everyone fascist and racist is just pushing people to the arms of yes, it's scary. It's scary. It is scary. And as you said, you're calling yourself a centrist. Because I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what I am anymore. Honestly. I wouldn't be pushed into the arms of conservatism, nor that reform, no way. And Labour, I'm no longer a Labour person, because the first time since I was 18 years of age, I haven't voted. All the fucking same. Good shout there, Neil. Really. And Ali says, yeah, I hate American titles. They will always come up with the new titles. They put people in different categories. They see people as a majority. Look, there's so many labels out there now. It's so easy to call one of them. If you spoke up against the Israeli government, for example, you were called anti-Semitic. If you called the likes of Obama, because he's got blood on his hand like all the rest of the poachers, oh, you're a racist. Why? Because he's black. That's it. You get called a racist. Even like that fella being set free, the sex offender. What would you be called? You see. Too many labels. Toscara Tabari. Tax has to go up. Who else is going to fund the illegals to keep them in the lap of luxury? Forget about the veterans. Let them sleep in the streets. There's a lot of people, in the streets, and they've been going for years. I remember my ex going to work every morning. She always went to work and she always bought this fella a sandwich and a drink and give him a couple of bob. She didn't have to feel sorry for him. She was in the doorway every morning. And she always went to work. She was a manager of a place. She always did it for him. Until her area manager said, listen, I'm coming to see you. And she went, okay. She phoned me, she said, I won't be home till later. I've got I said, all right, no problem, bothered. I was doing evening work anyway. I was doing some evening night school. Anyway, when she got home, I was just talking to her in general. And she said, do you know that fella? I said, yeah. She said, when I came out from the meeting I had with the area manager, she had to lock up. She went around the corner to where this fella was sitting. And she seen the fella tidying up his little blanket that he sat on. With his little thing, that you put money in. Put it in a bag. She said, and there was this blonde girl standing there over him. She said, I really thought that she was helping him, And they got up, walked up, and the pair of them walked up and got into a Mercedes. Professional beggar. Can anyone tell me what local councillors do? 6 figures paychecks. You do not. You just put a burden on yourself. I could tell you something, and it involves me, but I can't, because I'll be called something. I'll be called something if I told you. Wish I could. And the red bird truth and facts are like poison. I'm sorry. I have to put my fucking glasses on, Getting hard. Harder and harder. Excuse me. Truth and facts are like poison to the woke, joke, brainwashed sheep. Says our friend, the red bird. I am the biggest Nayib Bukele fan from El Salvador. And for me, the fact that his wife is following me on Twitter makes me feel good. I love his politics. Best one out there, in my opinion. Nayib Bukele from El Salvador. Peter Brown. A lot of countries have higher tax rates than ours, and they are great. They are great places to live. Japan, Denmark, Finland. Finland. They want to go to war with Russia. All right, Frank. Hope you're well, says Gary. Thank you, Gary. I'm all right. I tell you what, Peter Brown, though, Denmark, Finland. I stream Finland. I stream it. And I'm starting to stream it now because I stream it every winter. And you're saying that it's cheap and things like that. Well, not according to these streams. There was these young kids, not young kids, young 19, 20 kids to me, I'm afraid. And they were all complaining how much it is to go skiing. To go skiing on these ski lifts. And when they go in, it's just like going to a match today, isn't it? You go for like tonight, for example, you'll see lads out having a bevy. And on match days, the prices go sky high. Anything. And unfortunately for these skiers in Finland, even going, they said about just spending besides paying, like, I think it was 350 quid to go up and down the thing. You're spending around 200 just for, like, to keep yourself warm, like tea or coffee or whatever. But whether buying a bag of chips is cheaper, I don't know. So I can't really say. Local councillors don't get paid a salary, let alone a six-figure one. They get an allowance of about 17k per year. To Barry. And Barry says, Labour simply don't stand for the working man, no woman. I'm not sure if it's worth voting for any of them now. I never, as I said, I never voted at the last election for the first time since I was 18. Always put me vote in. And he only ever voted for one party. That was it. And I just said no. That was it. Last year. No way. And Gary says, whatever you do or say, you get labelled something. Said that before. Ali says, low people will always use racism or fascism to buy others. Yep. We've lost family values as a society, says Peter Brown. In Italy and Spain, they look after each other. In the UK, the state often picks up the pieces and the taxpayer pays the price. Do you reckon that you pay for the king? And the royal families? The families of the royals. Do you reckon you pay for them? Do you know that we're still paying taxes for the Second World War? Did you know that? There's a loophole and we're still paying for it. I've went throughout my working life paying for it. Throughout my working life. And you're paying for it now if you're working. And the IBR, 1/6 of all UK benefits goes to overseas nationals, and it's rising every year. That's a cracker, that it is. And we've been paying for years. Years we've been paying for it. And Neil says, Trump is aware I can't type on it, but at least he has a spine and gets things done for us all. And without his threat to leave NATO, we wouldn't have increased our military budget, which was needed. What for? Can you explain, Neil, why it was needed, the military budget here? Please explain. If you're still with us. Why was our military budget? I've got to read this out. Trump is aware I can't type on here, but at least he has a spine and gets the... You've just joined us, haven't you? And gets things done for us all. He doesn't. He got in. Why did he get in the first place? He got in on a peace campaign. Neil, he got in on a peace campaign. What fucking peace has he brought? What has he brought to the table? What peace? What peace? He wants to go to war with fucking Iran, which is already bombed. He wants to go to Venezuela and fuck them up and steal their oil and put a fucking puppet in who won the Nobel Peace Prize, who begged Trump to bomb a country. And she got a Nobel Peace Prize for that. She's been a puppet for years for America. And they groomed her because they said, you're going to be president of Venezuela one day because we want their oil. We want your oil. We want your gold mines. We want your emerald mines. I don't know whether you're aware of that, Neil. I'm going to read that again. That's a whopper. Trump is aware I can't type on here. Why? But at least he has a spine and gets things done for us all. Sorry. And without his threat to leave NATO, we wouldn't have increased our military budget, which was needed. So I know where you're going from here. And you're completely and utterly fucking wrong, mate. Sorry. Sorry. You might like the football show, but fucking hell, you mate. Finland and Denmark have a population of about 5 million, so they have a wealthier population, can afford to pay higher taxes. Yes. And a big wages. Big wages as well, says Yusuf. Massive wages they get. Johan to Neil, you're allowed to say whatever you want on here. Nobody is going to ban you for it. That being said, you know the increased military budget is going to Ukraine, right? And not protecting us. I couldn't believe that when I had that out. Fucking hell. Romania is a great place to live if you are rich, especially off the countryside. There are lots of English people in Romania. The guy from Discovery, Charlie Otley, moved to Romania as well. Did he? No, did. And Neil says, Toscana to Neil. My American relatives were Democrats till Obama got into power, then changed to Republican. I said, they are better off under Trump. Same here, Frank. I can't vote Labour anymore. I have no one to vote for right now. Maybe Lib. Oh, please. Because they will legalise. I think they legalise brain cells as well into people. Put it through there. Put it through the ear. Put a couple of little brain cells through the ear with a fucking big needle. Especially for our American friends. And Redbeard says, yeah, I know about the war tax loophole. Thank you, Redbeard. And I've been paying it all. Well, I was retired now. May retired. That's why I feel sorry for the pensioners. And Johan says, now that Charles has embraced Catholicism, is he going to pay his fair share of taxes as a good Christian should? That would help us a lot, wouldn't it? Where's our Neil gone? I asked him to say about, made up that fucking Trump wanted to do away with NATO. And he must have missed that, what I said. Get rid of NATO. NATO is America. And look where they are around the world. Fucking everything. They want to control the world. Jesus. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction, the world will have a generation of idiots. Albert Einstein. There we are now. It's like what Shakespeare said. It's like what Shakespeare said. Hell is empty, the devils are here. I've been saying for years that Chumpy Charlie is a secret muzzy, says the Redbird. Grand Mufti of Iran said he converted in the early 80s. Media cover-up. I saw the video. Was a celebration. Charles was there. I've got to say this though, Redbird. I agree with you, don't get me wrong, but he gets invited and the government tell him to go, He can't just say, no, I'm not going. That's genuine, though. He's told by the government where to go, what to say. Here's your script, you fucking say it. But unfortunately, the way it is now, we're getting told what to say by the Americans. Yeah, there's your script to start me. There's your script, Boris. Go and tell them fucking Ukrainians, no peace plan. No sign of the agreement in 2022. That's why you got a war today. And Stephen says, this week I watched Larry Johnson and Scott. I watched it. Effect on RT. Two men from the US getting interviewed by a Cuban American live from Moscow and RT, allowed to say what they wanted. Yes. Seen it? I've seen it. Ricky Sanchez. Scott Ritter. Larry Johnson's brilliant because he's a former Intel, CIA. So he knows the score. Same as McGovern, Ray McGovern. He knows the score. He's a former CIA. And Scott Ritter, as you know, is a Marine, former Marine, major, major in the Marines, and weapons inspector. And it was he who was saying to the Senate about the weapons of mass destruction. He said they haven't got any. And Biden was having a go at him when Biden was like younger then. And he said, you're out of your pay grade, he said to the Ritter. But I'm just made up because the likes of Russia is being bashed by the West all the time. And once these, the likes of these storm shadows, they've been fired in. And they're getting these tomahawks, aren't they? And it'll have to be the Americans who'd have to fire them. And Putin finally came out and said, one comes here into the Russian Federation, there'll be serious consequences. Serious. And, you know, it's a red line that, well, I think Putin's being very patient, but I think his patience is wore thin now because he's under pressure now from the Duma. And even Lavrov has come out and said it. Medvedev. If Medvedev, I'm telling you now, if Medvedev would be president, Ukraine would be flattened within 2 weeks of the SMO. It wouldn't have been an SMO, it would have been full-out war. It wouldn't have been a special military operation. That would have been it. Ukraine would have been no more. Kiev, gone. Zelensky, no more. Azov's, no more. All these Banderites, gone. That's Medvedev. And this is what the West, they haven't got the brains to think that another leader, the likes of Medvedev, and I think they'd vote Medvedev in. I think they'll just say, take over, fuck this. That's enough of this. And they'd just say, all right, lads, gloves off, get in there, fucking sort them, get your bombers out. But they won't, there's a Spetsnaz, is it? Spetsnaz? A special group of soldiers, the Chechens. And I think they're going to go after, as soon as this starts down, and Zelensky gets off in his little plane, private plane, somewhere, they're going for him, and they're going to bring him back to Russia to stand trial. And a few others as well. I think they'll go after that Sikorsky for blowing up, you know. Obviously, he's given all... I really do. I think they'll fucking get him. Get it, you're fucking going on trial. Peter Brown, the biggest benefit scroungers are sat on the throne. And there you have it. Toscana to we need to get rid of the royals. Greedy, corrupt bastards, a lot of them. They've been scrounging for years. And Ali the new says Ukraine needs to win. Ursula said. Putin, if Russia will lose the war, we will use nukes. Ursula, know that. But she still say BS. Toscana, the only royals we need are Jim and Barbara. I was in a panto, a Christmas panto, and I played Jim Royal. And this is genuine, this. When I went up, they asked me, someone asked me, they said, will you play that? I said, no, I don't want to do it. I'll go out. So anyway, Frank goes up and sees this fella. And he said, can you read that? And I read it. And he went, oh. Boy, he said, oh, you sound like Jim with that accent. That's a fantastic accent. Did you have to learn the? I said, it's my accent. I said, I speak like this. He went, you're from Liverpool? I said, yeah. Fucking hell. Oh yeah, there's Neil back. Ali the news. Yeah, everyone in their own extremist echo chambers who are brainwashed and indoctrinated by their social media. I don't fucking read social media, mate. I just do this podcast. I just do it. I do a football, I do this one, I do a film and TV review, and a history. But my city, my wonderful city. Ricky Tomlinson is boss, says Peter Brown. He is a great fella, Ricky. I know Ricky well. He said to me, he said he called me over. I was windswept. He had long hair. It was only a few years ago, before I retired. Anyway, he called me over. He said, listen, he said, I'm doing a film or a TV series. He said, Tom, Dick and Harry. I went... He said, no, he said, bear me out. He said, it's called Tom. There's three mates. Tom, fella named Tommy, he gave me his full name, and another fella named Richard, but they call him Dickie. And Harry, who's a professor. He said, I want you to play the professor. Yeah, it was all out. It was windswept, but I went said, he said, you're right here. I said, no. He said, it'll be a film. I said, no. Stay. The Royals by ass. Yes. Illegal aliens are also greedy, protected. They get everything for free. I could tell you something, honest to God, I can tell you something. And I can't. Do whatever they want and hate us. They cost us billions every year. It's getting weird. Redbird, you want to see what's happened to me, mate? Honestly. You want to see what's happened to me? But I've got no one's number. Can't get hold of them to tell them. And as you know, I'm desperate for physio, and I've been put back. I was at the doctor's the other day. I think our national health is gone. I really do. This girl says, "Yeah, this is your medication. It's great. It's better. It's fantastic." Yeah, and she's looking at me medical thing going down. On the fucking screen. And it was delivered that night. I said, oh, thank fuck for that. It's the same I've been fucking using for the last 3 years. That's it. And I phoned up today. And I said, I've got the shit. I said, I was there the other day, 48 hours ago. I said, and she's given me the same thing. Do you know what she said? Might have been the chemist. He's giving you they've got it mixed up. I said, what's the new thing that I'm supposed to get? She said, yeah. Fucking sick of it. Neil Sunley. They bring in the economy more than they take it from. Any profit made from the royal owned companies is given to the state. Ali. Anyway, guys, if a new COVID BS will start, don't do the vaccine or don't go in the hospital. I can tell you that. I will never take the vaccine again. Yeah, I've taken the vaccine 3 times, actually. And I was asked last year to take it, Christmas. I always get the flu jab. And I was there at the beginning of the month, flu jab. And they said, do you want the COVID? I said, no, thanks. Because I got it once with the flu jab when I was taking the vaccine. The COVID thing. Fucking hell, nearly killed me. I was in a bad way for 3 weeks. We have more extensional threats today. That's it. Our military was underfunded. But who are we being threatened by, Neil? I don't know who we're being threatened by. If we sent our fucking storm shadows into Russia, yeah, they just fucking fuck us off. That's it. Get a Reshnik, bang, gone. But you don't do that. You don't fucking escalate. You don't provocate, which we've been doing for fucking years with America, poking the bear. Don't forget, my job was to fucking analyse everything. Smash down the propaganda. Get to that wall where the truth is. Once you're there, smash everything away. Why was we living so fucking free? If you think Russia is an extra threat. Hey. The IRA was more of a fucking threat to us than Russia. Which they were. But they just wanted freedom. No one else. No one else. Why have we got fucking Gibraltar? Why have we got Gibraltar? A landlocked into Spain. Why did we send an armada down to the fucking South Atlantic to a place called the Malvinas that we call the Falklands? Why did we do that? They belong to fucking Argentina. Why do you think the African countries said, fuck off, we don't want to know anymore, British? And the Caribbean? Why? Because we think that we're still You still think that we're living in colonial times? We rule the world. No, we haven't fucking ruled the world for a very, very long time. That's why the Americans took the big blueprint of America, of a British colonialism, and said we can do that, but they're coming unstuck. And to me, Russia have never fucking done anything to me or this country ever. We've done that to them. Crimea, when we went in with it, you'd think that we went in the Crimean War on our own. We fucking didn't. We went in with the French. The French were with us. So why did we do that? Because we wanted Sebastopol. Because that was the port for the East. The whole of the East. Right over to the west coast of America. Right across the Pacific. So we decided to go over in 1854. So we've attacked Russia. They've never attacked us, ever. But if you fucking start doing it now, they will now. So, you know, if there's a planet left and people will be talking about us in 350 years' time, well, who started? You know, why was Britain obliterated? Because they were poking Russia, a place called Russia, the other day. Oh, so I'm sorry. So I don't know the external threats for them, to be honest. But I will give you, like, you know, it was underfunded, the military. You've only got to look at the under Cameron, which was a fucking, we were a laughing stock. We built 2 massive aircraft carriers, and we had no planes to go on them, and we had to borrow them off the French. And when Brexit came about, the French said, "Can we have our fucking planes back?" So we had no fucking planes. And we went to send it out and, you know, said, "And it's fucking leaking when to come back after the day." That's how bad we are. So, yeah, you're right, we are underfunded. And Neil says the tariffs force foreign companies to manufacture in the USA, bringing jobs. Of course, you've got fucking Porsche and Volkswagen. Porsche are leaving Germany with this fucking arsehole mates who's just rushing on the brain. Porsche and Volkswagen said, "Can you give us money?" "No, it's got to go to Ukraine." It's just like this fucking country. It's given £5 billion with promise for 100 years. Now, that's just without inflation, by the way. To Ukraine. What for? What the fucking right did he have to do that? He should have gone to the fucking people. "Can we give money to Ukraine?" But you think the people might have said, "Yeah," for all that I fucking know, but I would have said, no. They're fucking corrupt. Try and get some fucking press cuttings from 2018, 2019 and see how corrupt. Ukraine was. They're coming out and saying it, banging it. Most corrupt country on the fucking planet. Since 2014, oh yeah, the Maidan coup d'etat, yeah. After that, corrupt. Back here now. Iran is who are the enemy of. Okay. Let's try not to make it out that Iran is good. They are radical Islamists. Have you done anything to you or me? It's done nothing to me. Have a look at their history. Tell me when the last time they invaded a country. I mean, you must have fucking. I don't know what you read, Neil. I haven't a fucking clue, mate. I'm listening to the fucking news. There are the axis of evil, right? America's come out with the axis of evil and given us the script. And they've said, North Korea, Iran, China, Russia. That's the axis of evil. And people believe it. As it says, when was the last time Russia invaded us? When was the last time fucking China invaded us? When was the last time North Korea invaded us? And when was the last time Iran invaded us? And you're saying, you're going along with everything else, with all this fucking propaganda about a terrorist Islamist state. Who are you talking about? Hamas? Hezbollah? Who is Hamas fighting and Hezbollah? Who are they fighting? Are they fighting the British? Are they fighting some jocks up in Scotland? They fighting the Irish? Fighting the English? Think about it. I know who they're fighting. Doubt it wouldn't matter, Neil, if it would only take 2 or 3 of Putin's rockets to wipe us out. The fucking Oreshnik could fucking wipe us out. And I wonder if Neil thinks, you know, the blackest spot, and it must be still, during the Cold War, was Merseyside. Do you know why? Because of all the nuclear stuff coming into this country to make fucking like big nuclear fucking missiles and bombs that have never been fucking fired. And they still come through. You've got the biggest fucking container thing on in the country, so it's coming through there, up in Seaford. So he still must be the blackest spot. My fucking big Oreshnik, bang, gone. The whole of fucking north of England will be fucking wiped out, North West especially. And North Wales. All the little fellas with the sheep, they'll all be fucking wiped out. They wouldn't need wellies, would they? And Neil says, can't type what Trump is because YouTube don't look like. Begins with a C. Of course he is. Thank you, Neil. At least you agree there. The economy under Trump is better than it has been. Unemployment is massively down. That is a good leader doing things for his people. He is a prick, but I will always say he has respect. So you are being very good. I like that. So it's the opposite. Yes. Like that. I like that. And there, your answer, I bet you're going to say Israel has a right to defend itself next. I don't know. But me, as an outsider, I am sure that Charles is behind everything that's happening in the UK, says Ali the Noose. Oh, Ali. Numerous human rights groups, I've never heard any say that, to be honest. I've written articles on how rife radical Islam is in Gaza, killing gays and women in the name of Islamic honor and indoctrinate children to believe that it's okay to kill. I've never heard that. Honest, Neil, I've never heard that, mate. Never fucking heard of that. I've never heard it. I got fucking shut of a fella who used to come on my show. Used to sit on my show, football, and I got fucking shut of him because he supported, I know he did, the genocide that's going on. Are you saying genocide's not going on? I've never heard of that, by the way. I've never heard of any fucking groups. I've never heard of human rights groups who've said that. I've written articles. I've never seen that. What fucking articles have they got appearing in the Daily Express, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph? The news I watched, that would have been fucking right up there. Telling you now. I'm telling you, I was a fucking seeing all that. But I've never seen anything like that. These fucking people are being bombarded. The ceasefire is fucking broken, but they're still fucking killing them, shooting. Have you never heard of a little child, 6-year-old child called Hind, with 355 bullets into her body? And I'll tell you one of the fucking fellas who did it. A fella by the name of Sean Glass, who's got dual citizenship. He's an American. And the dual citizenship's with Israel. Sean Glass. Been named. They won him. So where have you got that from, Neil? Just tell us, please. Because I want to read all these fucking things. Because I suppose you believe in October the 7th and all that, and all the little babies being incinerated. I suppose you believed about Kuwait as well, when Saddam Hussein went in there and was going to the incubators and, throwing the little babies out of the incubators, which was fucking debunked right away. I suppose you believe that Bashar Assad was barrel bombing his own people with, GM warfare, which was fucking debunked as well, which was a load of bollocks. And I suppose you believe that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Never fucking heard so these fucking people are being killed every single day by shells and bullets and fucking bombs. Queuing up for food. They're not allowed food. Why do you think a flotilla went? To try and bring aid to them. Like medical aid and food. Why are they bombing fucking hospitals? Why are they killing so many fucking doctors and surgeons and nurses? Why have they killed over? There's been more journalists killed in Gaza than the whole of the Second World War. Or haven't you read that? Don't you know anything that's happening in Gaza? These people. Give up. too many outsiders, illegals or not. That's why you can't help. You can't get the help you need. I feel for you, Frank. Honest to God, as I said, I'm struggling. I'm in pain now, sitting here. I'm in terrible pain, excruciating pain, and I should be having physio 3 years ago. My whole quality of life is gone. It's gone. I can't fucking walk. Can't walk very far. Do I feel sorry for myself? Yeah. Because I just want to be seen to. And they put me right on the back burner. Because there's other people who are priority. And it's not Jimmy down the road or Nora across the way. It's people that can't pronounce the names. Sure, mate, says Johansson here. Please don't deny the facts about radical Islamists in Gaza. Numerous human rights groups, I just want to know where they are, condemning Gazans and their radical Islam. I wonder what truth it is. Where's it coming from, this truth that you're saying, Neil? I'm going to fucking research this myself. I'm a good researcher, by the way. I'll fucking research it. And if it's by the propagandists, and Johan's a very good researcher, by the way, as well. And we know who propagandists are. Listen, look, we were called WOPs, our family. Italians, WOPs. Now, WOPs stem from a little label, because in Liverpool, you'll have many Europeans coming over, even Chinese, believe it or not, into Liverpool to get to America. And in America, I'm just giving you some idea here, some idea, Neil. And these Americans were saying, fucking hell. And they were queuing up at the quayside. The immigration officer said, we can't fucking deal with all these. Loads of people, because they used to say, who's got passports, who's got papers to come into this country? And it took days for one ship. So they got hold of Liverpool, because this is what mostly they're coming from Liverpool. All the migrants, they were making their way here. So they said, can you help us? So we said, yeah, he'll help you. To our American clueless friends. And we put a little label on them. WOP, which meant without passport or papers. The label. And they said, don't take that off, keep that on when you get over to Ellis Island. To all the migrants who had no passports or papers. So when they got there, they were, oh, great. So they just say, yeah, you get over there. All you people with labor, get on over there. You people come straight to us now. So it was all flowing. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, WOP became derogatory. Now, my Italian family, some stayed here, proof, and those went over to America. And the WAP became derogatory in America. Now, you know that all these sayings come over, from America, especially in films. Hey, you WAP, you number of dirty thinking WAP. When you're watching American films, New York. He's a greaseball WAP. And it came here. We were called it WAPs. You see, what I'm saying is that's propaganda. It's all propaganda. To hate another thing. To hate another race of people. So if you get me meaning, don't believe everything that you read. Ali, vaccine is a virus. The virus sends you in the hospital, and in the hospital, I don't know. Every nurse I know told me everything you do, don't go to the hospital for vaccine. Yeah. Why is Israel a safe haven for pedos from the West? And you've only got to read that Godfrey's thing, haven't you, about the Israeli Prime Minister? Whoa! Unless Neil doesn't believe that. I remember Neil last night, it was the very last comment, but it was hard to, I finished the show, and the comment he said, I won't go on that. And this is why. He supports Israel. Don't you, Neil? I've never taken the COVID jab. Never will. I haven't had a flu jab for at least 10 years. No, I get it. I'm telling you now, Redbirds, I used to always get a cold. Fucking terrible over the Christmas. Always. Without fail. And I qualified for a thing. So I got it. Touch wood. Never had it since. When I've had the flu jab. I've always been, but I can't fucking let you. Every Christmas Eve, I always took my daughter out, just me and her. Since she was 17 years of age. Always took her out. Tradition. Me and her, just me and her. Can't do it no. Haven't done it for the last couple of years. Yeah, why is Iran a safe haven for terrorists who kill our what children do they kill? Our children. Our. Who's our? Neil, who's our? Who's our children? Any English? And your answer, Neil, you need to shed the Hasbara, mate. Everything you're saying has been debunked. Thank you for saying that, rather than me, because I have said it. You keep saying that, Neil, go and search. I've never heard it, honestly. You might think that I sit here on my own and fucking twiddle my thumbs and watch films. I do a lot of researching. And I've never seen anything what you're saying. Human rights groups. What fucking human rights groups? Is that Tommy Robinson? Waving the fucking big Israeli flag. Him. Nigel Farage. Him. I'd just stick to fucking football with us if I were you, Neil. Being funny. Why is Starmer pledging 10 million to the Muslim communities, taxpayers' money? Is he having a bloody laugh? This is the joke of a government that ignore, yeah, the graping gangs, yes. And your answer, Neil. If you're an example of a centrist, no wonder why society is rotten to the core. And there you go, proving my point about how extremists think everyone is a racist or an Islamophobe when they tell the truth. Just tell me, you tell me, Neil, where did you find these articles, and who, or just say who who's written them? You must know who's written them if you're so adamant saying these fucking groups, you know, they're telling everything. Because I've never come across any of them. All as I see in Gaza is Palestinians being fucking slaughtered. And people, the whole world's against Israel and calling out genocide. Except the likes of that David Lammy. When he was fucking forced to say, well, he wasn't forced, he was just asked by this reporter, is genocide going on in Gaza, down here in Liverpool at the conference, the Labour conference? Now, all he had to say was no or yes, and he didn't answer. So the answer was yes. No, he doesn't believe in it. Genocide was being committed. But you won't, because your biasness stops you. Come on, give it a fucking break. Suddenly, we've read it, mate. You need to read up yourself. You're right with Medvedev, Frank. He is 10 times more crazy than Putin. Putin didn't start to use real weapons. No, he hasn't started to use real weapons. Medvedev will use them and will send Spetsnaz as well. That's who it's right. Thank you, Spetsnaz. They've got an assignment. And I tell you what, they're very special. You know, people say about our SAS, you know, how great they are. Maybe they are, I don't know. Our Angela's husband was in them. I could tell you a lot of fucking things, Neil, what he told me. Anyway. And that's Spetsnaz. Thanks, Ali. They've got a special assignment, and they are the boys. You know, everyone, even Scott Ritter always says, you know, the Marines have got their own Marines. These are the fucking boys. These are fucking show any of them. SAS and everyone. Iran has a bigger Jewish population than Israel. They feel a lot safer than living in Israel. Say Steve to Neil. There you go. Most acts of terrorism and assassinations have links to Mossad, says IBR. There you go. Neil. I wonder you didn't want to say. You said last night you didn't want to come on here, but you must have thought like, oh. The worst part is Muslims are committing genocide and fucking hell. And the Sudan and Nigeria. Everyone's silent about Muslims committing genocide. I think you better fuck off, mate, because you're a fucking I'm sorry, but you're supporting the fucking jet. I don't know that. The Yemenis are fighting the fucking Americans. And I don't think they've got time to commit genocides in their own country. The Houthis. Do you? Now, come on, man. That's a cracker. Mr. Wesley Clark memo. And that memo, as I said about those countries and the destruction of the Middle East. General Clark, American, 1999. And that's what they're doing now today. They've destabilized the Middle East now, the Americans, so that the big movement would go into Europe to destabilize the Europe, and it's happened. And I suppose you're against these Palestinians. Where are the marches for Sudan, the Yemen, and Nigeria? Nigerians are fucking committing themselves by Muslims. The fucking Muslims themselves. Look what fucking Joanni's doing. Besides killing Christians, he's killing fucking Muslims. They're killing each other. They're killing each other. I know about Nigeria. And I know about the Muslims killing Christians. But I also know about the Muslims killing fucking Muslims as well. Because if you don't belong to a certain Sunni or a Shiite, you're fucking dead. So I do know what's going on there. But you want to find out what's fucking going on in Gaza, lad? Seriously, Johan, where is your outrage at Muslims committing genocide in the Yemen and the Sudan? And fucking hell, here we go. Conflating Zionism and Judaism is anti-Semitic, mate. The Orthodox rabbi oppose Israel. You're supporting fucking this genocide, mate, and Israel. You can fuck off now. I'll have you blocked. You'll never get on my Liverpool fucking show again. I take you to be a fucking red anyway. If you're supporting the Israel and genocide. I'd fucking hate you for that. You're trying to make excuses about Nigeria, Sudan. America's fucking started all this. Did I tell you that in your little fucking propaganda? When they went into Africa. And Somalia as well. And the Redbird says, Hamas are a problem, so is Iran. So is Iran. It's naive to think otherwise. To be honest, Redbird, look. I always thought that I was a socialist. I always supported, the underprivileged or whatever. I have always given to charities. Always. I always even helped the fucking people in the fucking street. Yeah, mate. But I used to see this fella, and I didn't half feel sorry for him. And he was a genuine homeless fucking fella. And I used to give him a $5 every time I seen him. Yeah. And he pulled me one day. He said, do you know what? I've got to thank you. I said, it's all right. No problem. I said, just get yourself something. So, it's things like that. I've always helped charities. I've given talks for nothing, giving up me fees. I said, just give me my taxi fare. If I wasn't driving, I'll just go home, keep the thing. Fees, what I got. So I've always helped. And Red Bears, honestly, mate, you've got to think about, I know what you're saying about Hamas. Now, who called them terrorists? Do you ever remember the IRA being called terrorists? They were the Irish Republican Army. Who called them terrorists? Thatcher. You get the likes of Kaya Kallas trying to call Russia a terrorist state because people will go against you. But, you know, they're even trying to fucking steal the frozen assets of Russia. And Belgium, not fucking Brussels, Belgium themselves were that, fuck that, no. Because if they did that, you'll get loads of fucking banks around the world, countries around the world who have got fuck all to do. They'll just pull all their money out of Europe. You know, if they fucking do that to them, they'll do it to us. And especially with the famous words, the famous terminology, tariffs. They'll go, fuck that, and they pull out. And that's what Belgium have said. No, we're not being part of that, especially the bank that the frozen assets are in. Our bank had collapsed. No, fuck off. In other words, it's stealing. So, Redbird, you've got Hamas. You've got the Palestinian. If Hamas, there was no more Hamas, what was happening? What was happening to the Palestinians? They'd be wiped out. It's already been planned by that Kushner fella, the son-in-law of Trump, to build a massive Riviera in Gaza. It's all there, the hotels, the fucking lot. You should see it. And they don't want Palestinians there. So where are they going to go? They'll either be killed. And that's what, they're killing them now. So if there was no Hamas there, you know, the excuse is Hamas. There's no one to fucking protect them. Who's protecting the Palestinians? Who? There's only Hamas. There's only Hamas. Anyone could be called, it's like a fucking label. You could be called an anti-Semitic if you go, oh, you know, Israel is doing fucking naughty things there. Anti-Semitic. I don't like Obama because, oh, you're a racist because he's a black man. Everything. There's labels for fucking everything. And if you go, you know, I don't like these gangs of, you know, because they're Muslim, raping gangs. Islamophobic, yeah. See what I mean? There's labels for everything. And you've only got to name one group of people being terrorists. And then they're known as terrorists. Does anyone know what Hamas is? Hamas themselves. That's enough. And your answer, Neil. Obama bombed Yemen, Sudan was in the memo, and Nigerian G was debunked just as the South African false flag. What else you got? Iran killed women, gays in the name of Islamic honor. Oh, there we go. So whether it's the laws, you know, you see, people have different laws. People have different laws. The Islamic State have a different law. It's as simple as that. You don't like gays, and you could be executed for being a gay. The death penalty here has been abolished. But if you murdered someone, you'd be fucking hanged. And loads of people have been hanged, and they haven't done the crime. The same in the States. People are being executed left, right, and centre, and they haven't done the fucking crime. And they're because most of them are black. And Tusker, has anyone seen any protests regarding the Christians being killed by the Islamic extremist group Islamic State in Nigeria and Syria? Yeah, I've fucking mentioned it loads of times. They are begging for help, but they're left. Have a guess. I'll tell you who's helping them in Syria. I'll tell you who's helping them, and it's the Russians. They've got a base there, and the Americans are fucking. They don't want them there. Why? Because of that little Jawani. But they're helping these people, and I think it's the Sunnis that are helping the Sunni Muslims, because Jawani I think he's a Shiite, and he wants them fucking dead, and other Muslim groups. And they're saying they're all in the fucking base. But they're just going around every day as I speak now. And Stephen says, it wasn't Muslims that dropped the equivalent of the Hiroshima nuclear weapons in 2 years on Gaza. Neil. To Neil. And that's it. Think about it, Neil. You know, what he's just said there, Steve. Oh, for fuck's sake. Just seen something there. Typical of you to deny. I bet you think Arab Muslims don't invade and colonise the old Mediterranean corridor and still colonise North Africa to this day. Do you know what? Yeah, okay, fella, yeah. Let's see what. Oh, fucking hell. And Neil, Hamas and Hezbollah want a caliphate, which means forcing on all Muslim. Okay. In this country, I think there are 42 Sharia law courts. Do you know that? So what am I saying here? Remember when I said they have different laws, different countries? You know, I could go over to America and fucking kill someone and ends up on death row and get the needle or, you know, whatever they get over there now. And I could go to wherever, Saudi Arabia, and kill someone and get my head chopped off. It's the fucking law. But I don't want laws in my country of different laws from other countries. It's as simple as that. And I don't see why we have Sharia law courts here in this country. This is the British law. It's not the law of a foreign country, and it shouldn't be allowed. Did you support? Oh, of course he did. He's supporting everything else. Assad, it was shocking what happened to Bashar Assad. Shocking. And that's been going on, the fucking propaganda. I remember one of said as well, stay, go and have a look at Homs before what they were doing to Syria. Beautiful city. White buildings, people just doing a business. Then you said about Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Okay, now should see that. That's fucking like Nagasaki or Hiroshima. Now, today, right now. Damascus, the oldest civilization city in the world, the first metropolitan city in the world. This is American, you say. They haven't a fucking clue about anything. And the propaganda they spew out, the likes of near fucking laps up. Everyone's fucking terrorist. The IRA with the IRA terrorist. Because Thatcher said so. Yeah, okay. And Stevens said, yeah, see, he forgets that, he doesn't realise that Israel funded, made up, just like America made up ISIS and funded them. And they're still funding them with Al-Jawani. He's all right, he trims his beard, he combs his hair. He's took that thing off. But he's still got fucking ISIS. And they funded him. He had a 10 million, 30, was it 10 million or 30 million bounty on his head. And they made him president of Syria because of Israel. And people can't see that. You've seen my thing, haven't you? It's not up there now. What Israel want, the greater Israel. From that little fucking grain of sand right through, which they got in 1948, kicking the Palestinians out. There are jihadist and militia groups in Gaza, but they are all funded by Israel. Say, what do human rights groups say about radical Islamists? I'll get that. I'll see who they are. That's what I'm saying. Just name one. Fucking, name. There must be something. It's like name Frank Carlyle. Say like it's written by me. Get him. He'll tell you. See what I mean? There must be a fucking name of these human rights groups. There must be a fucking name. You mentioned human, you pluraled it. It's not one. It's groups. Well, as I say, is what happened to the Palestinians. But you don't. But you haven't even said anything about America being, everything is normal. Cold pain. Human body is not made by steel. Human body bacteria. Fight with. You need to get used to it. Food, water, fresh air, and sun make you invincible. Yeah, look, he's got it. You can see where it's. Look, what hasn't he said? I've had enough of you. You're not fucking. Don't come on my fucking show ever again. All right, you're supporting Israel and genocide, fella. And I got rid of a Liverpool fan. You came on my show because of it. Any fucking one who supports genocide can fuck off. It's wrong. It's wrong to support anything. I've seen footage of... I asked you a question. Do you know about that young child called Hind? 6 years of age. Sitting in a car with members of her family all dead. And she ended up, she was calling for help. I'll let you know this. Seeing that you mightn't know about it, you know, whatever you fucking read. And she was calling for help. Medical officers, you know, medics got there and they were going over to help her. They were shot dead. Shot dead. I wonder who by. Who shot them dead. And that little Hind ended up with 355 bullets in her little body, in her little 6-year-old body. Who did it? Was it Hamas? Was it Hezbollah? Was it the IRA? There's no Hamas in the West Bank. Where is it? Seriously, Frank, do you think 7 was a lie? No, it was true. But the fucking propaganda that fucking followed it was fucking a lie. It's been debunked. All the propaganda afterwards has been debunked. Just like the barrel bombing in Syria. Debunked. Just like all the lies being said by this Kuwaiti fucking ambassador's daughter. I seen babies being pulled out of incubators and being smashed on the floor by Iraqi soldiers. Remember all that headline? And they're all debunked. It's not what you call propaganda, as I said. Serious, yeah. I've said they are committing. When have you said that? I've said they have no right to. When have you said that? You've just said it now. You have just said it now. I don't know you personally. You might have said it to Jimmy's down your road, but you haven't said it on here. You have not once mentioned it until you mentioned it now. But you got... okay, now back to the research. You're okay. Get your facts. Okay, yeah. Not having you fucking that no more. And great what about ism, mate? And IBR says there is some dark, evil stuff in the Talmud. And remember those Jews in New York allegedly in the tunnels. In the tunnels. A couple of years ago. Yep. There's loads. Do you know, like, you're going on, Neil, about, do you know, have you ever heard of TikTok? Now, a Jew bought TikTok, and they've got what you call influencers, young American influencers, and they're paying $7,000 each post if you're supporting what Israel are doing. This influence. See, propaganda. You're not getting paid, I know that. I'm fucking finished. I've had enough now. Good night, people. Thanks, Joanne.